Hey friends, I am so excited to invite you to this lunch and learn on recruiting. Arin Cacciolo is amazing. I had the pleasure of working with her at conference last year. Is that already a year ago? Is that what it was? Just on like the
I
timing.
can't keep track.
And I was like, holy cow. And so it was just kind of fun to kind of get to know her a little bit with doing some things with that session. And then it has just been fun to watch her just skyrocket to the top. I think during that, it was kind of fun because when we were writing our scripts for conference, we were changing her title. It was like, well, by the time that this rolls out, I'll be an executive. So that was kind of fun. And she has just been like at ExecSim, her name was all over the place with these top numbers. And it was funny. I sent her a message like congratulating her. She's like, how the heck did that happen? I'm like, oh girl, you're on fire. So I am so excited for you guys to get to hear from her today. I had the pleasure of creeping in on a training. I was like, can you just do an encore of that for my team? Because the wording was so amazing. She just had some really good things to share. I promise you're going to want to take notes. Okay. I bumped into the training and it was like frantically grabbing like pad and paper. So you're going to want to take notes to be able to get some things if you are in a place to do so. And then we'll just let her kind of rock her thing out to be able to get us into the good recruiting space so that we can really take advantage of the opportunity all the time, but especially the Pampered Chef special that is going on. The date of this recording is March 4th, 2021. So there's just some really fun things going on. And then other than that, I'll just let Arin take it away.
Awesome. While I'm starting to talk, can you make it so I can share my screen so I can share my slides? All right, so I'll introduce myself a little bit. So like Trina said, I'm an executive. I live in New York City. I'm in Brooklyn, New York. I promoted to exec in July. So like Trina said, when we were planning for conference, it was like in the interim of me promoting. And last 2020 was a whirlwind. Like I don't even know what year it is anymore. It was a whirlwind, like legitimately a whirlwind. A little bit about my story and kind of what got me here. So I've been with the company for 7 years. I joined 7 years ago. I used to work corporate retail. So I was a buyer in Manhattan. I worked for companies like Macy's and Barnes and Noble. I did buying and product development. When I had my first son, I went back to work when he was 10 weeks old because, that was the maternity leave that I was allowed to have. And I've always been really career focused. I never, ever, ever in a million years wanted to or imagined myself as a stay-at-home mom. But I went back to work when he was 10 weeks old and it was so hard, like the hardest thing I'd ever done. I couldn't even wrap my head around how emotional I was about it. I was like pumping in a closet and crying. Like if any of you guys are working moms, that is like the hardest thing in the world. I saw my son for an hour a day the first year of his life. And that hour was like picking him up from my mom's, driving him home, feeding him, putting him to bed, all of that. So 2 weeks after he turned a year, I found out I was pregnant again with my second son. And I knew something had to give. I couldn't do this like with two babies and that whole like juggle. And I also knew my mom wasn't going to watch two babies for me. She was having a hard enough time with one. So I was in the process of trying to figure out what I was going to do, but the universe kind of decided for me and my entire department got laid off. So this was like 2 weeks after I found out I was pregnant with my second son. So it's kind of pushed into this position of you need to figure something out quickly because you're going to be like super pregnant in 5 minutes and no one would hire you anyway. Because, they can say that people don't judge, but they do. So I decided I was going to not run back to work. And that's when I decided to join Pampered Chef. I tell this story because I also was a very busy, like corporate person. I never cooked, like ever. I didn't cook. I didn't know how to cook. My husband did the cooking. I would get home at like 7, 8 o'clock. My husband cooked everything. So I'm not someone that you would ever think to recruit for Pampered Chef. I wasn't like posting things that I cooked. None of those things. Also, I had never been to a Pampered Chef party, owned a Pampered Chef product, or really knew anything about Pampered Chef. So I came into this literally knowing nothing. Which is why not judging is super important because I would not be here if people only asked those who seemed a good fit for the company. So I ended up joining the company completely blind, like not knowing what I was getting into. But I kind of loved it from the gate. I was like, this is fun. I could see myself doing this. I joined 7 years ago and have been almost predominantly a virtual consultant since. So 7 years ago when Facebook parties were not nearly what they are today, I was doing them. So I've been working in like the Facebook virtual realm for 7 years, and there's been a lot of evolution and a lot of growth, and I've definitely evolved with it. So I promoted to director about a year later after I had my son. A couple of weeks later, I decided I'm ready to, really focus. Promoted to director, quickly promoted to advanced director. And that's where I stayed for 4 years. I was an advanced director, watching other people promote and then watching people all of a sudden promote super fast. Like people were coming into the company and hitting national in like 9 months. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I thought I was doing everything. Like I'm doing the parties, I get bookings. I thought I was recruiting. And in my head, I'm doing the things, and yet I'm not seeing the things. I'm doing the things, but other people are seeing things and I'm not seeing them. And I wasn't really sure what I was missing or what I was doing wrong. So October of 2019, I finally promoted to senior director. January of 2020, I lost it and I was back at advanced director. So that was 3 months later, which is pretty much how long you can have the title without meeting it. So I got it as quickly as I lost it as quickly as I got it, kind of thing. But I had been added into executive bound because as of December, I was still a senior director. So I was added to executive bound. So I'm in executive bound. I'm an advanced director. I'm in executive bound with all these people who I'm looking at as like rock stars, already feeling very inferior. And I'm like, okay, I either have to embrace this opportunity and figure out what I'm not doing or bow out, because there's no reason for me to be here if I'm not going to really embrace it and make it my thing. So I got very introspective and I realized that the two things that I was missing were a culture of fast-paced recruiting and strong onboarding. And once I realized that those were the things that were missing, everything changed. Happened to be that I realized that in March of 2020, which was the exact same time that COVID hit. So part of it is kind of, I think, coincidental. And I don't want to say lucky because nothing about COVID is lucky, but I found my groove at the exact same time that our business kind of took this incredible growth speed fast forward. So I rode that. I went from 3 directors in the beginning of 2020 to 24 directors at the end of the year. So that means 21 new directors, 18 of those were fast tracked. So that all came from fast-paced recruiting growth and strong onboarding. I personally recruited 56 people last year, 45 of them qualified. So it's an 80% qualification rate. This is not by accident, and it really comes down to being super intentional. So now I'm going to share my screen. And one more thing, like Trina talked about seeing my face up there at ExecSem with all of these people. I still have imposter syndrome when it comes to those things. Like I'm not sure how my face is up there with those people, but if my tips can help you guys, if I could do it, you can do it. That's pretty much where I'm at with this. I don't have anything different than what you have. So we're all in the same boat. I'm sure you guys have heard the saying, recruiting fixes everything. It's true. If your momentum isn't there, recruiting will fix that. If your business is suffering, if you recruit somebody and you then have to be accountable to the people that you recruit, that helps you there. If you have a team and your team is not doing what you want them to do, recruiting fixes that. So truly, recruiting fixes everything. And not just recruiting in general, fast-paced recruiting is really where it's at. So let me get into slides here. Okay, so why would you want to recruit? Why would you want to build a team? Team building is truly in a business like this, how you work smarter and not harder. Do you have to build a team? Do you have to recruit to be a Pampered Chef consultant? The answer is no. This is a commission-based business. You can easily just sell your products and do what you do and never ever build a team. But if you would like to change lives, and if you would like to change your bank account, building a team is really how you're going to do it. There's a finite amount of product you can sell. Yes, there are people in this company that sell $30,000 or $40,000 worth of product a month. I am not one of those people. I don't think I have the bandwidth to be one of those people, but I want to get the same paycheck as those people. So in my head, I'm like, how can I make the same amount of money as people who are selling $30,000 in a month without running that many parties? And the answer to that is by building a team. So where there's a limit to how much you could sell, there's no limit to how many people can be on your team. And there's no limit to overrides and how much money you can make in overrides. So truly, if you want to see a financial return in this business, the way to do that is to build a team. There are 2 key factors in recruiting, in my opinion. The first is energy and belief. You have to believe that this is the best opportunity in the whole wide world. You have to believe that the Pampered Chef business opportunity is really the best thing out there. I believe it. I believe it to my bones, because I would not be where I am today. My family would not have the opportunities that we have today. And I wouldn't be living the life I live today if it weren't for Pampered Chef. And I've seen what it could do for other people in other situations with other needs. Like, I know that this company has everything to offer. So everything I say comes from my heart and from what I believe. I'm not copying and pasting someone else's feelings, words, or emotions. It's coming from my belief. And if you guys haven't seen the belief triangle, your belief determines your actions determine your results, and your results reinforce your belief. Like, if you believe it, you're going to act it and you're going to see the results on it. So if once you believe it, then your energy is there. And I am a huge believer in energy. The energy you put out is the energy you get back. If you're out and about and you're like, oh, like, this is a chore, like, I have to ask if they want to join my team and I'm going to bother them, and then you're going to be bothering them, and that's what they're going to feel, and that's what they're going to give back. If you feel like it's a chore and you're dragging to offer an opportunity, then they're going to feel like you're doing a chore and checking something off your list. If you're living the energy and you're like, I need to offer this opportunity to you because it's amazing, then they're going to be like, oh, right, clearly this is an amazing opportunity. I have to at least say. The other component is bookings. So there's the part of having many bookings or abundant bookings that's obvious, right? Like, it's a numbers game. This is not magical, it's mathematical. The more people you're in front of, the more parties you have, the more people you can offer the opportunity to, the more recruits you're going to get. And it's very logical. It makes sense. It's black and white. But there's something deeper to it. Having abundant bookings puts you in the mindset where you're looking to give up parties. And what do I mean by looking to give up parties? When you're recruiting your hosts, you're giving them your party, or you're giving them the parties booked from that. If you don't have abundant bookings, if you don't have more bookings than you need, you're going to hesitate in giving parties. Even if you believe in the business opportunity and you're saying the right things, if there's a little bit of hesitation there, people are going to pick up on it and they're not going to jump into your boat and they're not going to want to take what you're offering. So you need to make sure that you have an abundant amount of bookings. When I say abundant, like, you need to be going into every week looking to give parties away. So, for example, I need to run like 4 to 5 parties a week to be where I want to be in my income, right? To have the commission that I want, the sales that I want. So I book 7 to 10 parties a week. So by booking 7 to 10, I'm giving myself the opportunity for 1 or 2 to cancel or move, and then for 1 or 2 to join my team and to give them those parties. None of me is hesitating. I go into every week ready to give away parties, wanting to give away parties. So if you have the energy and you have the belief and you have the bookings, what happens next? I'm a big believer in planting seeds. I'm not a big, like, join my team, join my team, join my team. I don't do a lot of like recruiting, like blow ups with posts and things like that. A lot of it is about seeds. And it's the same thing with bookings. A lot of it is about planting seeds. This way, when you ask, the seeds have already been planted and it's not something new. It's something that's already kind of been resonating in their head. So there are 2 places to plant seeds: your VIP group or your business page, whatever you use regularly. I prefer a VIP group, but as long as you need to have someplace you're posting regularly. Your VIP group needs to be active and authentic. Super important. If you don't have an active, authentic VIP group, you're not going to be getting regular recruits. You need to be constantly engaging, building your brand, and being yourself. You also need to be constantly adding to your VIP group. Every single host that I book a party with gets added to my VIP group. Every single guest gets invited multiple times. I incentivize joining my VIP group. I've had my VIP group for like 6 years, and there's over 2,000 people in it because I'm always adding and inviting. Are 2,000 people active in my VIP group? Absolutely not. But because there's new people joining all the time, there's always activity. So I'll go over some examples of seeds that you can plant in your VIP group in a minute. And then there's seeds that you plant in your party, which is throughout your parties. So what are some of the seeds you plant in your VIP group? So some are more obvious, like hosting the monthly specials. I mean, this month, it's like a no-brainer. Our monthly specials, the recruiting specials this month are like ridiculous. $39. You can get the 17 different electrics. You can get the this, that, and the other thing. it's like, it's a no-brainer. So you need to be talking about that. And not only posting about the special, you guys should be focusing the entire month on sharing the grill and griddle in use, on sharing the quick cooker in use. Make people fall in love with these products so you can organically have a conversation with them like, oh, if you join my team this month, you can get it for free. Instead of just posting, you can get this for free when you join my team this month. You'll always get better results doing it in a more organic way. You want to share when you're earning free products. So when you get the free summer products, or when you get, whatever free products we're earning for whatever the incentives are, share that. Let people know that you get free products in addition to your paycheck. Anytime you earn any incentive, if you earn a trip, if you earn excellence, or even something small, if you earn the PC light that we got last month, show people. Like, it's not very often that people have a job where they get rewarded for things other than a paycheck. Most people don't even get like an attaboy. Like, we get attaboys and like this, that, and the other thing from the company. You also want to share things like social gatherings and trainings. Obviously, right now, there aren't a whole lot of social gatherings happening. There are some virtually, but when that happens, you want to share that. But even a training like this, take a screenshot, share it, and say, my Pampered Chef leader puts these amazing lunchtime trainings together for us. Do you work for a company where people do that? Most people join direct sales and get zero support and get nothing from their uplines. And that's why moving forward, they're afraid of direct sales, and they feel like, we're all just sharks trying to get numbers and trying to get people to sign up under us. So by showing people that you're from a company and a team where you're going to be supported and given information, that makes you more appealing. And then seeds you can plant in your parties. So I'm going to show some examples of these because I know people always like to see examples, but some of the things that I do in my parties to plant recruiting seeds are sharing my story. So the first post in my party, or one of the first posts in my parties, is a video where I tell my story, and you're really speaking to people's, whoops, did I do that? No, I did that, okay. Where you're really speaking to people's hearts, right? You want to speak to their hearts and their heads. So you tell your story. You never know who is watching that your story is going to resonate with. Your story is different than my story. Everyone's here for a different reason, but you never know who you're going to speak to with your story. I do a post with like all the different reasons you can love Pampered Chef. It's not just about the money. Talk about the kit and the value of the kit that speaks to their head, to their logic. Well, if I'm going to spend $100 anyway, I may as well get all of this. And then there's the Ask Anything post, which is a good post to really get people asking questions where you can plant additional seeds. So these are examples of some of those posts that I just mentioned. And the first one, that's my story. So that's the video. That's the little post that goes along with it. And I always end it with a call to action, like, tell me when was the last time you were at a Pampered Chef party, or, what's your favorite Pampered Chef product, just something to get people chatting. The second one is a post about some of the different perks of joining Pampered Chef, the flexible income schedule, the community, the product. So it's not just about a paycheck. And then there's one about some of the kit. Then there's one, the other one is the Ask Anything post. So these are the types of posts that I put throughout my party. None of them were really saying join me, except for the third one, which does say join my team this month and get it for free. But for the most part, these are not saying like join me, join my team. They're planting seeds about some of the things you can get by joining the team. At the end of the day, this is a relationship business. Yes, it's sales. Yes, it's direct sales, but truly and honestly, this is a relationship business. And if you're not building relationships, you're not getting bookings and you're not building a team, because that all comes from authentic relationship building. So in the years that I've been with the company and in the recruiting trainings that I've seen over the years, I've heard a lot of people train to go for the big ask first, meaning ask if they want to join your team. If they say no, ask if they want to have a party. If they say no, try to sell them something. I could never get behind that. And I honestly, it just never felt right to me because it felt very inauthentic. I didn't feel a connection when I was doing something like that. It felt like I was preying on people. So instead, I follow what I call the booking first model. And this is something I made up. It's not like really a real thing, but it is to me. So the reason I say that is because creating VIPs and creating people who are loyal and connected to you is a long game. It's not something that happens overnight. So I focus on one thing at a time. And throughout that, I'm really focused on building relationships. So when I'm in a party, I'm focused on building relationships with every single guest at the party. And my goal is to get every guest at every party to book a party with me. So I go into every party with the intention of getting every guest to book with me. Realistically speaking, to get 2 or 3 of them to actually commit. But my goal is always book every single guest. Every conversation I have is leading to me asking for a booking throughout that relationship. So every single party guest is your next potential host. Are you asking every single active guest at every single party to be your next host? If you're not doing your job. If you're not getting 2 bookings from every party, you need to think about why. You need to think about, are you building relationships? Are you asking? If you're building relationships and you're asking and your parties are fun and engaging, you'll get 2 bookings on average per party. Will there be parties with no bookings? Sure. But then there'll be parties with 4 or 5 bookings. You need to be intentional with this and you need to really focus on that. It's super important because without the bookings, you're not going to get the recruits. Like you need to have the parties in place first. So your first goal should be bookings, 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 and bookings at parties. Because honestly, it's like a bazillion times easier to book a party at a party. And who wants to spend hours every week trying to follow down leads and chase down leads and cold message people when you can do it fun and authentically during your party? So you want to have those abundant bookings. You want to book parties with the intention of giving half of them away. So you want your weeks to look scary full to the point where you're like, I need to give some of these parties away. I don't want to run 10 parties. I don't want all that. I want to give them away. And you want to be building relationships. It's so important to build relationships. So the flow, the flow of how I suggest doing this is you want to take everyone from guest to host to recruit to team member, because there's a difference between a recruit and a team member. A recruit is signing on the dotted line. A team member is buying into the opportunity, running parties, and becoming a part of your team. If you follow this flow and you're building a relationship throughout all of those steps, you're much more likely for them to become a team member versus a recruit because you've already become friends. As soon as someone agrees to book a party, I friend request them. We become part of each other's lives. I see what's going on with their family. They see what's going on with my family. I comment on things on their Facebook page. They comment on things on my Facebook page. Then there's a connection and they're somewhat committed and they're not just going to ghost you because you've already started this relationship with them more than just someone that signed up with you, sorry, and you never really spoke to them beyond, do you want to join my team? Or did you see the special this month kind of thing? So you want to make sure you're building that relationship. So first of all, they trust you because once the trust is there, they're going to believe the words that you're saying and not think that you're out to gain something from them. So how do you recruit your hosts, right? My goal is to recruit half of my hosts. So my goal is to book half of my guests. My goal is to recruit half of my hosts. Especially in a month like this with these amazing specials. There's really no reason that every single one of you on this call couldn't recruit half of your hosts. So the main gist of it is ask 5 times, right? I'm sure you guys have heard that before, that there's nothing new there. But are you actually asking 5 times? Like, are you at 5 times in the party saying, do you want to join my team? And the answer to that is no. When I first heard the whole ask 5 times thing, I was like, oh no, like I'm not doing that. That's way pushy. I'm not asking the same thing 5 times. And someone's going to be like, all right, back off. I already told you no. It's more about asking, inferring, hinting, complimenting. Like there's other ways of asking without overtly asking somebody to join your team. The goal is to recruit before the party starts. The reason for that is if you can get them to sign up before their party starts, you flip it to their grand opening, you still run the party, they still get the host rewards, they also get the commission, and they also get the momentum. And this business is all about momentum. So if they get that first party and they've already started to earn fast track and they've already seen how much fun it is, then they're never going to ghost you because they're going to be like, oh, I've already earned level 1. Now I need to earn level 2, or they've already earned 1 and 2, and now they need to earn 3, or whatever the case may be. So in an ideal world, you get them to sign at the beginning of the party. So you turn it right into their grand opening. But if they say no, which I would say more people say no than yes, some will say yes, but more say no, that's okay. Drop it. I stop asking at that point, and I turn to complimenting and continuing to build the authentic relationship. And when I say complimenting, it has to be authentic, right? But you got to compliment them. You have to let them know that they're doing what you would be doing, what your job is. So you compliment them if they invited the right amount of people, or you compliment them if their party has sales before you started, or if their party is really high in sales. If you have a crappy host and they've invited 6 people and don't comment, you're not complimenting that person because they're not doing something to compliment. But you want to try to find things to compliment as long as those things are there, right? So you want to, yeah, oh my God, you already had 30 people and I just invited you 10 minutes ago. Like, how did you do that? Or, oh my God, you already have $300 in sales and we haven't even started the party yet. You're a rock star. You can let them know, if this was your party, you would have already earned, $100 commission or whatever the case may be. You want to do that at least 3 times throughout the party, throughout the meat and potatoes of the party. I don't even mention a kit credit before or during the party. I don't mention a kit credit until I'm giving someone the summary of their rewards. I don't want to incentivize somebody waiting until their party is over to join. I want them to join in the beginning. So I don't mention a kit credit until the day before the last day of the party when I start to summarize their rewards with them. Then I tell them about the kit credit. And then I tell them, oh my God, you've been so amazing. You can use this kit credit. You can join for free, since this month they can join for free, or you can join for, whatever, $50 off, $25 off. That's when you really start to play up the kit credit. A little tip about the kit credit: any party you have that's in the $200 range, so from $200 to $299, add the kit credit. Whether they want to or not, do it, add it for them. It doesn't take anything away. It doesn't remove any of their rewards because they don't get free value in that $200 price range. And this way you have a list of people to reach out to on a month like this, where we have a low price kit. And you can tell them, I applied a $25 kit credit when we closed out your party. So you can now sign up for $14 this month and you can earn the grill and griddle or whatever the incentive is at that time. So that's like one of those little things that I didn't know about until I heard someone else say it. And I was like, whoa, that's genius. Like, I'm going to do that. So I now added, anytime I have one of those $200 range parties, just throw the kit credit on there. Can't hurt. You have nothing to lose. Which leads me to the, what do you have to lose? That is my magic line when I talk to people about joining my team. Booking and recruiting are both filled with objections. Almost every single rejection, when you dig below the surface, is a fear of failure. Almost every one of them. They all come down to people are afraid to fail. They're afraid to fail you. They're afraid to fail themselves. They're afraid to embarrass themselves in front of their friends and family by being a failure. People are afraid to fail. So you have to play it down a little bit. Let people know, what do you have to lose? What is the worst thing that's going to happen out of this? You sign up and you don't have a million parties and you don't see the success that you're hoping. Okay, and what? And what? And then you walk away. It's okay. But what's the best thing that could happen? You could earn about $700 worth of free product in your first month, a paycheck, and potentially a new career. Really, what do you have to lose versus what do you have to gain? And once you put it like that, people are like, I guess you're right. What do I have to lose? Especially with a low price kit. For $39, I can't even fill my gas tank for $39. And that gets me a whole lot of nowhere half of the time. Where for $39 here, you get a whole lot, you get the cast iron pan right away, which is already at a deal. And then potentially, all the other things. So these are some examples of conversations that I have during host coaching. So the first one is before the party, I send a virtual host pack. After the virtual host pack, I'll send the message. And this is where I try to get them to sign up before their party. And I say, this may be the furthest thing from your mind, but have you ever considered becoming a Pamper Check consultant? We can make this your launch party. I would still run it. You would still get the host rewards, but you would also get the commission and the new consultant incentive. And when they say no, then I move into the compliment zone. So this is an example of the compliment zone. Like, oh my God, we're not even halfway through your party. You're already at $900. You're such a rock star. You've already earned this and that. We're not even halfway done. I tend to, at that point, start, whoops, what did I do? I went backwards. I tend to, at that point, start to make jokes. And I say things like, oh, I just moved the faces. I don't even know what I did. Sorry. I tend to start making jokes at that point. Like, you should have joined beforehand. I already made $200 off of this party. Thank you for the manicure. Like, I try to make a joke out of it and do, make it light. I keep it light all the time, but let people in keeping it light, let people know what the opportunity would be for them. And at the end, this is how I summarize it. So I tell them, you've earned this, you've earned a kit credit, like that. So they know what they've earned, and that's when I really start to sell the kit credit. But at the end of the day, you want to get them from recruit to team member. And to get someone from recruit to team member, and I'm going to stop sharing because that's my last slide. To get someone from recruit to team member is really all about onboarding. And it's about the strong relationship that you built from the gate, and then having a really strong onboarding system. Because if you don't have a strong onboarding system, you're going to lose a lot of your recruits. And that's where I was previously. So once I realized that I was missing that piece was when my qualification rate went from like 50% to like 80%. And qualifying 80% of your recruits means that you're going to have people starting strong, people excited from day one. You're going to have people recruiting from day one because they're excited. So you're going to get fast track directors, and you're going to get a lot of excitement in your team from new people. And if the new people are excited, the less than new people.
Believe that, but like what do you think took you from one to the other?
Sure. I mean, I didn't realize it was a light bulb until retrospectively I realized it was a light bulb. But I did, like, when I was in executive bound and I dropped back down to advanced, and I was like, what am I doing wrong? And that was really where I was at. I was like, what are these people doing that I'm not doing? And I spent a while, like I spent like the months of January and February looking in executive bound and looking at the systems people had in place and trying to figure out what I didn't have. Like, I had the team culture. So I'm like, great, that piece is not missing, because people talk a lot about team culture. I'm like, my team culture is great. I'm not missing that. My bookings are great. But I was realizing what wasn't happening was other people weren't recruiting, and people were joining the team and then doing nothing. So I was like, all right, what's missing? That's what's not working. So what's missing to get us there? So it was really a matter of looking at what is working and what isn't versus the people that were doing what I wanted to do. Like the people that were moving really quickly. And I realized that it really came down to creating fast track directors. Because before last year, I never created a fast track director, not one. And then last year, I created 18 of them were within my organization. So realizing that was missing and getting over my fear to sell that opportunity in the onboarding process was, I think, one of the big changes. Because then the fast-paced recruiting happened because I was onboarding strongly and I was talking about recruiting from day one. And once we started doing that, the rest of the stuff kind of followed.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I feel like we're working on our onboarding process, but it's that transition kind of thing with that. So when you onboard, do you onboard only your direct recruits, or do you help onboard indirect as well? And do you involve your directors in that?
So I came up with my process and I've shared it with all of my directors. Like, I have Evernotes for everything. So I have an Evernote and I've shared it with my directors. So I give it to my directors so they can hopefully do it. Some do it better than others. As far as my personal team, I will do it with anyone who I personally recruit and anybody's first recruit. So if it's anyone on my personal team's first recruit, I will handle onboarding in like a 3-way type situation, but only for their first recruit. And after that, I'm like, you watched me do it once. And I do the same thing with parties. Like when I recruit somebody, I'll run your first party, you watch me, and then you do it. I'll onboard your first consultant. I'll give you that Evernote so you can follow step by step on the same things that I did. And then you're going to do it yourself after
Great, thank you.
that. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, my internet is the devil, and so I was gone for a little bit, but I knew I was like, oh, it's almost at the end. Oh no, oh no. Does anybody else have any questions? And it's such good stuff. I've got pages of notes, even though I've heard it before.
I see questions about the virtual host pack in the chat.
Yeah.
It's the virtual host pack is literally in Canva. It's like a multi-page Canva thing that I turned into a PDF. It has like the link to the virtual catalog. It has the specials for the month, the recruiting specials, and it's just all in one PDF. So it's easier to send than actual physical mail or sending like 17 different JPEGs.
Yeah, love it. Okay, anything else? I just think, like I said, some of the things that really stood out to me that I loved was the mental process. I think I was telling you before too. I was like, I love that we then teach we have to move our recruits to team members. Like we get so discouraged sometimes because we got to recruit and then they did nothing. And I'm like, well, because we weren't done. There was a process there still. Not everybody's going to buy into it. But if you have a system in place to train them how, now that they've signed on the dotted line, to then become, a good, an effective part of our team, not only for themselves, but for, the good of the team as a whole. Like there's a system that should be there. There should be a bridging of the gap there. So I just think I was like, yes, that. And then I also love the booking first model, because I think that's the philosophy I've always taken, but I've never really had anybody tell me that was okay.
Me neither. And I was just like, the other way just didn't feel right to me. Like it just never felt right.
I was like, it's not wrong, but I was like, but it's not me. And so so I don't do it. So I'm like, I'm not going to tell you to not go after the big fish, but I'm like, it doesn't feel right to me. So this is what I do. And then I build the relationship and then being able to go that. So I just think that is so awesome. Well, I appreciate your time. I know you're probably going to go run off to other things. It was just so fun. Like I said, I knew you were a stud, and to be able to see things come up. And I just think that this was such a timely thing to share. And we just appreciate you feeding into our team. Friends, if you guys have any other questions, let me know, and I'll see if I can get any of those things figured out from them. And then other than that, I'll get this recording up before the day is out. But thank you so much, Arin. See you guys later.
You're welcome. Have a good day, guys.
Bye, friends.
Bye.